morning. First of all, I want to apologize for this sun. I don't know, nothing I can do about that. First of all, really, I would like to thank my subscribers. I received some really heartfelt comments, and I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I really thank you for that. I try to read everyone. It sometimes takes me a few days. I'm busy and life. But anyway, I'm trying to get out of this sun. I guess I shouldn't complain about the sun, right? After being in Alaska for as long as I was. I want you to know that I'm going to keep doing videos. I'm in Oklahoma at the moment. I'm going to make a delivery here in Oklahoma, and then I'm going to go home for a few days because I haven't been home since last November. But on my drive down from Alaska, this company is based out of Colorado, so I thought, well, I'll just stop there, do my paperwork, pick up my truck. And then they said, yeah, you just do that and we'll just get you a load to the house. I've worked here before. These are good people. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deliver this later this afternoon. And then I'm just going to go home from there. I wanted to kind of do a little video on Alaska and, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh, by the way, the beard will probably get trimmed down now that I'm no longer in Alaska and I'm in civilization now. I can't look like I just came out of the wilderness like this. So, I'm not going to be barefaced. You'll never see me barefaced. Barring some industrial accident or, I don't know, some disease that makes me lose all my hair. You'll never see my bare face. I always have a beard. But this will probably get trimmed down, a lot. So anyway, Alaska, if you get a chance to go, especially if you're a truck driver, but anyone, but as far as trucking, if you get a chance to go do it, especially if you're single, do it. It will greatly enhance your driving abilities, especially if you're a young guy and you haven't been driving very long. You go to Alaska, not just for the summer. Spend at least one summer and one winter because they're both unique and they both have their challenges up there. And you don't have to run the haul road, by the way. You can go up there and you can run up down the Alaskan or the Parks Highway or whatever, run between Seward and Fairbanks, whatever. That run between Seward and Fairbanks in the winter will give you all the experience you need because you can pick up down in Seward and it can be freezing rain and then you got to deal with ice. And then by the time you get north of Anchorage, you're dealing with snow. And you can get 2-3 seasons right there on that one trip, man, because it's just how it is. But, you will come back to the lower 48 with the confidence that you can deal with anything down here, right? There are unique things down here. And I often say, the guys who run up and down the East Coast of the United States, from, say, Boston to Miami, you got my respect, bro. All that traffic, you got my total respect. All those idiots on the road, yeah. That's a rough job. I've done it. I don't do it all the time, but I haven't done it in years. But I remember picking up a load, I believe in Connecticut, and running it down to they got the Walmart warehouse west of Jacksonville. And I left that evening, not long after rush hour. Got down through New York City and such, but. it was a heck of a trip. I ran most of it at night, and even late into the night. I mean, the traffic just doesn't stop, man. And I've run I-81, up that way a lot back in the day. And yeah, it's a heck of a trip. So I mean, everything's got its challenges. So I'm not saying that if you never go to Alaska, you never get any experience doing difficult things. You do, but running a summer and a winter in Alaska will really, you will come down here and you'll just be like, I can deal with just about anything, I mean, you don't come back down here with an arrogance or a cockiness, but come down here with confidence that whatever they throw at you down here, you say, bro, I got this, And it's not just here. Like, before going to Alaska, I drove in the oil field. That's off-road driving. Any kind of off-road driving will really enhance your driving abilities. Because if you can run lease roads all day, or if you can run the Dalton, or anything like that, you can pretty much run on any road and, handle just about any obstacle that comes in your way. Like last night, I'm coming across rural Kansas and Oklahoma, and the deer are out, and I'm like, it's a deer, it's not a moose. If I hit it, I've got a bull guard in front of this thing. If I hit it, no big deal. Wash the blood off. It's not like hitting an Arctic bison, that's almost as big as the dang truck. So yeah, I say do it. Even if you're a middle-aged guy like me, if you get a chance to go up there and do it, go up there and do it, because you'll learn things. I don't care how long you've been driving. You will learn so many different things. And another problem I see I'm going to have is packing too much in this truck. Because up there, especially if you're running the haul road, you carry things in case you break down up there and you have to fix something yourself. You have to change a tire, single a tire out on a set of duals yourself. There's no road service up there. Or B, you get trapped in an avalanche or something. You got to make sure you got enough food and water and a way to heat it for, could be a day or two before they can dig you out. Now, I still carry food and water all the time. I've always done that. Ever since refrigerators became just a common thing in trucks. And even before then, I'd carry some canned food. Because I can park anywhere and be pretty much self-sufficient. Yeah, you need a bathroom and such, but I mean, as far as I got to park over here so I can get something to eat or whatever. I don't worry about that. So, tools, I've always carried tools. I never understood guys who go down the road without tools. You hear these guys, well, it's not my truck. True, it's not your truck. But you're the one who's going to get delayed over some simple little thing that all you needed was a screwdriver or a wrench or a socket and ratchet or whatever. You're the one that's going to get delayed off of that. Don't be that guy, Be prepared. It makes you look like you got something up there, I'm not saying you got to be a master mechanic. Some of this stuff, it's simple. I know some companies don't want their drivers touching anything on the truck. And I get that too. But, if you go to pick a trailer up, it's missing a mud flap, and you go down to wherever, and they say, yeah, we can fix that. It'll be about 2 hours. But you could go in there and buy one and have it done in 15 minutes yourself. I don't think the company's going to raise too much hell over that, man. Whatever. So I'll probably pack more stuff than I need, but I also learned things that I should be carrying that I haven't been carrying, or that I was hesitant to carry. And bungee bungee straps, bungee straps, bungee. I mean, I carry a few, but really, man, bungee straps, zip ties, which I've always carried a few zip ties, but I'm carrying more now, different size zip ties. You know, just simple things, man. Bungee straps always come in handy for a variety of different things. Same thing with zip ties. I've always carried tools, you know. I work for a small company. They don't want us like digging into the engine or anything. Obviously, these trucks are all under warranty. You know, they only keep them for about 3 years. But there are simple things that can be fixed, you know, that they don't mind us doing. So, Alaska will, you know, how can I say this gently? And I know I'll get negative comment or nasty comments or whatever, and that's fine. You know, whatever. I can handle that. I'm a grown man. One thing that always bugged me, or I should say, one thing's always bugging. People complain about the weather, right? And I don't mean complain about, oh my God, there's a blizzard out there. You know, I mean, if it gets above 80 degrees, people complain about the heat. If it gets below 60 degrees, people complain that it's cold. And I remember I was at that little Loves in Wichita Falls, Texas one time, and it was about 105, 106. You know, it was a warm day, and it was August, so you know. And I remember walking into a truck stop. This guy was walking out, and he's like, "My God, you believe how hot it is?" And I'm like, yeah, it's Texas in August, man. I mean, whatever, get over yourself. But, and people do that when it's cold too. You will appreciate, I don't want to say you'll appreciate, you will, I guess, yeah, you will appreciate life a little more up there. And you're not going to complain as much. Now, when I was staying in Fairbanks will break 90 degrees in the summer sometimes, and you would hear people in there complain, oh my God, it's so hot. And I'm thinking, dude, it's 90, you know, I mean, whatever. I guess it's all relative to where you live, you know, but you will handle weather a lot better. You won't, which I never was a complainer about it anyway, but you will understand that it's cold, put a coat on, you know, it's warm, take the coat off. It's, you know, whining, I know that's kind of a harsh term, but I'll say it, whining and complaining about the fact that, you know, it's gotten over 80 degrees, you'll have less tolerance for that. And I've already warned people at home, say, look, man, I don't want to hear about it getting cold. I don't want to hear about it getting hot. I just spent a summer, and you know, 2 summers and a winter and a half in Alaska. You know, just don't. I do complain about the rain, because Fairbanks was nice. Oh, Fairbanks gets pretty brutal in the winter, I get that, but you get down toward Palmer and Anchorage, and it rains. It's more of a Seattle type climate. It rains a lot, and just when everything's starting to dry out, it rains again. And then when that's starting to dry out, it snows. So I complain about the wetness. So there you go. I'm a complainer about weather myself, I guess. But Alaska has a very varied climate. And a lot of people don't believe or don't think that. They think all Alaska is just freezing cold. It's one big, you know, iceberg or something. And it's not. You go down to the Kenai Peninsula, and even in the winter, it can be pleasant. Now, yeah, it's going to get cold, and yeah, it snows and all this, yeah. But, I mean, it's not a brutal cold. Whereas, and you get up to Anchorage, and it's still pretty decent, and, you know, Palmer, Wasilla is not bad. And then you get north, you get it by the time you get to Fairbanks, Fairbanks can get minus 50 in the winter. And of course, you get up to Prudhoe, you're in the Arctic, you know. So. But there's a difference in climate. And you kind of see why most of the population congregates from Wasilla south, basically. Now, me personally, if I were to move to Alaska, I would go to Fairbanks. Simply because the cold doesn't really bother me, and there's less people because it gets so cold. So I would go up to the Fairbanks area. I'm not going to move to Alaska to be surrounded by people. In Wasilla, Anchorage area, it's just as busy as any, built up area in the lower 48. And you get down to Kenai Peninsula, down by Seward and Kenai and all that. A lot of tourists, man. A lot of tourists, especially in the summer. Man, that's where everybody's going to launch their boats. That's where, the weather's nice. It's like, I always say, it's like the Florida of Alaska, going down there. It's just, a lot of tourists. And that road is really aggravating to drive in the summer, man. Especially if you got a set on. You got a couple of 45-foot trailers you're trying to maneuver around, where the road gets crooked and such. But it's definitely an experience. It'll make you to a different person. It'll make you a better driver if you're a truck driver. It'll sharpen your senses. It'll hone your experience, I guess. You don't see a lot of steering wheel holders up there. I'm sure they've got a few, but you don't see very many of them. You see the haul road. You see a lot of friendly guys, and you see a lot of angry guys. There are some guys up there who get along with everyone, and there are some guys up there who think that unless you've been on the haul road for 30 years, you have no business being on it. Just the way some guys are. You've got guys you hear with southern accents. You hear guys that sound like they're from the Midwest. You guys have Texas drawls. You have guys from Hawaii. Yes, you have Hawaiian drivers up there. You do. I know a couple of them. You have all kinds of people from all areas of North America up there driving. The guys from, say, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, New Mexico area, the guys have been driving in the oil field. There's a lot of them up there because, and I can attest to this from doing both. You drive in the oil field, you're kind of wanting that next challenge. And the next challenge, obviously, is Alaska. So that's why you have a lot of those guys up there. A lot of people think that you would have a lot of guys from, say, Minnesota or Michigan. You have guys up there from there, but really your best drivers are guys who are running off-road. Running down a nice, smooth, paved highway in Wisconsin all winter doesn't really prepare you for running the haul road in Alaska. It just doesn't. Guys who have off-road driving experience, that gives you really more of an advantage. Even if you were running off-road, say you were down in Louisiana, in southern Louisiana, driving, a crooked dirt road down there to an oil field or gas field somewhere down there, that would give you more experience than a guy from northern Michigan who's been running up and down highways, his whole life. Nothing against those guys. I'm just saying, I'm not saying you couldn't go up there and be a good driver. You could, but you just have to understand that you have a lot to learn, and listen to the guys that are trying to teach you. Don't say, "Oh, well, I'm from northern Wisconsin. I know." No, you don't. You really don't. it's different. It's a different world. So that's my experience in Alaska. I would like to thank the guys at Mint Alaska, where I was working. It's a good bunch of guys. They're hiring right now. If anybody is up in Alaska and you're looking for a job, you've got haul road experience, they're paying a nice sign-on bonus. If you don't have haul road experience, they'll train you, and you still get somewhat of a sign-on bonus. I think it's a little less though, but it's still a good one. I think I've rambled on long enough. I'll probably lose some subscribers over this. I know I have a tendency sometimes to, I don't know, say the wrong things. I don't suffer. I don't want to say I don't suffer fools. You know, we're all fools at some time in our life. I don't suffer complainers. And I complain. I whine. I know I do. But what I mean by I don't suffer complainers, the weather's going to be what the weather's going to be. You can't stop it. You may not like it, but you can't stop it. And if it's minus 20, you constantly going on about it being minus 20 is not going to make it 70. It's just going to make you colder. Same thing with the heat. You know, when I was driving in the oil field, you want to talk about a dusty job. It's 110 outside. You got on a hard hat, long sleeve shirt with a shirt under it, long pants, and steel toe boots. It gets quite warm. You know. But what do you do, man? You do your job. You know. You don't say, well, I don't want to go to work today. It's going to be 110. You know, it is what it is. You know, this is the modern world where trucks have air conditioning. You cool off between wells, or after you load a crude oil, you cool off on the way to unload it. You know, and that's the only point I'm trying to make. Alaska's not for everyone. Nothing is for everyone. Like going up and down I-95 on the East Coast is not for everyone. Definitely not for me. I'm having to get acclimated to traffic again. On my way down, going through Calgary, Alberta, I was really getting irritated. You know, there you go. I was complaining, so there you go. See, and not that there's not traffic in Alaska. You know, you go in and out of Anchorage. It's a modern major city. But I would only do that once a week. You know, so. And the good thing about working here is we don't hit a lot of big cities. Denver, you know, Kansas City. We do have loads that go down to Dallas and Houston. I could go the rest of my life. I used to live in Dallas. I go the rest of my life without going back to Dallas or going to Houston or any of those bigger cities like that. But Denver and KC, yeah, I can deal with it. Omaha, big deal. Oklahoma City, yeah, I can deal, you know, whatever. Salt Lake, you know. Although Denver, they seem to always be working on the freeways there. Whatever. My point is, everyone has their things. Mine is traffic. You know, I'm not a big fan of it, and I don't know too many people who are, but they deal with it. Some of them go in and out of New York City every day. I used to go to Los Angeles every week. It didn't bother me. It's a different kind of traffic. I knew my way around the city. I knew LA like the back of my hand. You know, it wasn't a big deal. I used to go to Chicago every week. Not a big deal. I knew how to get in and out. I had the same drops pretty much every week, and so it wasn't a big deal. You know, I didn't like it. I mean, I wasn't like, yay, I get to sit in traffic. You know? But, you know, I dealt with it. I complained, but I deal with it. And I'm sure, you know, the guys driving over in Europe, man, where you're constantly in traffic. mean, I think especially the guys going through Germany and places, I know that they're constantly in traffic, day and night. And I think if I were driving in Europe, I'd do as much night driving as possible. You know, maybe it's a little calmer. I don't know. But it seems like Spain's a little calmer than the rest of Europe. You know, I see a lot of guys who do videos where they're in Spain, and it seems a little more wide open than, say, the UK or Germany or, you know, Belgium or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I appreciate the subscribers. I really do. And yeah, to the drivers, especially who contemplated going to Alaska, do it, man. Do it. Do it. Do it for a year. Like I said, do a summer and a winter. And you'll be glad you did. I really believe that. Anyway, got a little over an hour left before my break is over. And then I'm about 70 miles from Enid, Oklahoma. That's where I'm delivering. And I'm really pretty excited because I'll be going home after that. So I'll be home tonight. I got a 2 p.m. delivery. I've been here before back in the day. They unload you quick. Yeah. But I'll be home tonight, and I'm going to hang out for a few days. So you won't see a lot of videos from me in the next few days. You hadn't seen any the last few days. I've been busy. Well, I decided to do this one, but I'm at home relaxing. I'm not saying I won't do any video. I might. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm just going to try to take some time and relax. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.